Okay, so the military shop truck project is officially complete, and I've been driving it for the last couple months and really enjoying it and having a lot of fun driving it on back roads in northern Connecticut. The body is probably nicer than I expected it to come out. It did have a lot of that really flaky, ugly paint, and we had to remove a lot of that, and we used just some rattle cans to give it a little bit more of a consistent look because the paint was a little bit beyond patina on it. So the other thing we did was I removed the cappings and we wire wheeled off all the silver paint and then re-riveted them on, because to me the one non-negotiable on these projects is the rivets. It has to have the bare rivets. That's the same as on our restored vehicles. I would never want to have painted over rivets or cappings, so I was really happy with the way that came out. We have a little bit of patina already forming on the bed here, where there were some scratches from hauling something, and eventually the vehicle will take on the look of an original paint truck that has been kind of scratched and battered and used. And I'm fine with that. I want it to have that patina look, and I don't mind if the paint gets scratches and stuff like that. And it's already getting kind of like a burnished look. And the thing is, even if I wanted to do a full restoration on this truck where we make the body panels perfect, you know what? I wouldn't choose this truck. I would choose a different vehicle, because the body panels on this are just really, really rough. The military trucks just have a lot of dents and a lot of holes in them, and a lot of just banged up panels everywhere, and this would not be the truck to do. When we do our restorations, we choose vehicles that have really perfect body panels, because we don't want vehicles that are already kind of beaten and have oil canned panels and stretched metal and dings and dents. We want the most virgin panels possible for our restorations. The vehicle couldn't really be a full restoration, but it was still too nice just to use for parts. So why not do something like this, where it has a presentable look? It doesn't look too rough, where you're getting weird looks because it looks like it's just driven out of a junkyard. But it still looks presentable, but it still has a nice kind of rough character to it, where you're not afraid to scratch it or drive it through the woods, and any scratches or additional dents will simply add to its character and add patina to it over the years, and it'll take on the look of an original paint truck after a certain amount of time. So I'm really happy with the way it looks, but I'm even more happy with the way it's driving and performing. This vehicle, to me, it has to be as reliable as possible, because I am taking it out on places, usually by myself, that if it died, it would be a pain to get it out of there. So this vehicle is as reliable as one of our restored vehicles. It has the exact same drivetrain, and the disc brakes. It has the parabolic springs and the same engine and fuel injection and all that our restored trucks have. So we've really given it every advantage. Even like the rear diff, we have the 24 spline half shafts. Everything we could do that would have been done on our restored trucks, this one has. The one thing it doesn't have that the restored trucks do usually have is an overdrive, and with this truck I decided to try 375 gears, the 375 gear ratio, instead of the overdrive, to see if that's kind of like a happy medium, and it's working out well. I mean, you lose a little bit of the lower gearing, but I don't find that I'm slipping the clutch any more than in, say, a normal vehicle. And I like the simplicity of not having the overdrive and just having the 4-speed. And to me, these vehicles are all about simplicity. I want to feel like I'm driving something like from back in the day. And I mean, that comes from, at a young age, I loved World War I vehicles and, like tanks and stuff like that from the First World War. And I even, when I was probably about 10 years old or so, I tried to design a tank that I was going to build. And this kind of reminds me of that. I mean, I drew up the blueprints for it, and I even designed the uniform and the type of helmet with the face guard that the tank driver would wear if I had ever built this thing, but I never did. But this kind of vehicle almost makes me feel like that nostalgia of having this vehicle that's essentially built like a very early vehicle with rivets and riveted together body panels and stuff like that. So I want a vehicle that's as different as possible to drive, but I still need to be able to go on the highway. There's no situation here in Connecticut where you can really get anywhere without going on the highway. So I need this vehicle to be able to cruise at 60 miles an hour, which with the 375 gearing, it cruises at 60 miles an hour perfectly fine without the overdrive. So I'll go around the vehicle and we'll just talk about some of the details on it. Okay, so we're starting at my favorite part of the vehicle, the lights. And these military lights have these thread-on lenses, and these fins are so you can grip them to tighten them up on there. And I just love the way these look, and we clear coated the gray colored bases here so that they won't rust. And I just love the way that looks. And it has the hood latches like the old Jeeps had. We had to rivet a few panels over the holes where there was antenna, but you could see all the galvy on it. It has nice patina. So you can see the nice gray. And inside the bed, we have a 6-foot bed here, which is really useful. And you could see all the extra holes. And we tried to fill as many of as possible, but there's a lot of extra holes because they had all sorts of radio gear back there. And you have on the 109s, you have the locking storage boxes on either side, which is really handy. And here in the back, again, you have these beautiful lights, and you have a NATO license plate light here. And we kept all these sockets on the back, the trailer plugs and stuff like that, even though we're not going to use them. They're just kind of part of the truck's character. And I did add a Pintle Hitch on the back with a ball, so we could still tow the trailer, yet it has sort of the military look where it would have had a Pintle Hitch here. We kept the rear bumperettes and airlift rings. Here on the side too, we had to rivet these plates on where there was some sort of antennas. These rivets here are for reinforcements where these tie-down rings bolt to. So there's these big heavy plates behind here where you see these rivets, and that's where these tie-down rings attach. So we kept all that because that's really convenient for tying down gear in the back. So we did add the truck cab, and I can easily remove that in the summer for open top driving, but I really like the truck cab because it's just so light and airy in here with the extra windows in the corner. And you can see we still have the rifle holders, and we did add some new leather to that, so when I put a rifle in there, it won't get scratched. And these are really nice and springy. We did add late 2A gauges, which we always do to our restored vehicles. This is T is tail lights, ST is side marker lights and tail lights, and then HST is headlights, side marker lights, and tail lights. We have the banjo steering wheel. Of course, we have shoulder harnesses, Defender shoulder harnesses, like we add to all our restored vehicles. We have the adapter plug so that I can charge my phone and use the GPS. So that goes like that, and then you have a 12-volt outlet on that side. And it does have the 4-speed with the original double bent shifter. So I do like the 4-speed, and I really like shifting it with that double bent shifter with the mushroom knob. And I mean, although the 5-speed is a great solution as well, I kind of just like the simplicity of the 4-speed and the 375 gears. It really does everything it needs to do for me. It still has some nostalgia of the double bent shifter, and you know, it's really as simple as possible. I mean, the 5-speed involves a lot of adapting and, you know, cutting parts of the frame and stuff like that. This is just as simple as possible. So we do have the later style latches, and we'll pop the hood. I do have a winch on the front. So under the hood, we have our regular NAO 2.25 with some of the horsepower improvements that we do to these. We have the Sniper fuel injection, which works really well, and the Odyssey battery, and pretty simple wiring harness, nothing really too outside the ordinary. So we have a normal cloth covered Land Rover harness, and then the harness for the sniper. So pretty simple still. Power brakes. So everything under here is galvanized that we can really effectively galvanize. So if I do drive this truck in the salt and rain and mud, it's not going to start rusting the frame from the inside out. So that's really important because I plan on using it year round. What would a shop truck be if you only used it in nice weather? Whereas our restored trucks, I would not want to take in poor weather. They're just too nice. It would be almost painful to see it get road salt and mud on it. I mean, although our customers do, they're fully off-roadable and really designed to be driven in bad weather and road salt and stuff like that, because we do try to galvanize as much as possible, but the paint jobs are just so nice on them that it is painful to see them get dirty. But this one is actually meant to get dirty. A lot of galvanizing in there. We didn't use the split wheels that these had. Those just seemed a little sketchy to me. So we used tubeless wheels. This has a ridge right here to keep the bead on. If the tire does go flat, it won't come off the bead and potentially cause an accident. I just got metal in the tire on my drive back. So let's see if we can plug it. All right, plug seems to be holding. So we want to have, if we have tubeless tires, we want to have tubeless wheels. We don't want to mount tubeless tires to tube type wheels, even though it is possible to do that. Now on all of our current restorations, we're using tubeless wheels. So I'm really happy with everything as far as the mechanicals go and the performance of the truck. It's really enjoyable to drive. It's kind of one of those vehicles that you just want to get in it and just explore back roads and just kind of meander and just see what's around the next bend and not really have to have any destination to take it any place specific. Just hop in it and see where it takes you. So the vehicle is essentially done. I mean, the only thing that I might add to it is a Mount Mansfield heater. And that's because I do plan to use it in the winter, and I was debating on whether we were going to put in the normal round heater, the Clayton round heater, which is just a heater. It doesn't have defroster ducts. I mean, that's great in the vehicles that are used in nice weather, like the vehicles that are used out on Block Island and stuff like that, where you're just going into town during nice weather. But on this truck, I think I'm going to use the Mount Mansfield, which does add a little bit more clutter to the dash as far as having the defroster tubes run across the dash and the ducting and stuff. But I think the payoff of having a really good heater is well worth it in this case. Although if it were a restored truck that was just going to drive in nice weather, I would stick with the round heater because I like how simple the dash is with that round heater, and it's so uncluttered. Yet not having a really high output heater and defroster is actually worth it for me in that sense. But on this, since it's going to be, I'll probably use it for plowing, stuff like that, I think the Mount Mansfield, that'll be the one thing I add to it. And I would say that's done. There's nothing else I would really do to it other than put miles on it and drive it. I think the vehicle will be great for local trips around here in New England. The vehicle is able to go on highways. It's fairly comfortable and fairly quiet. And there's really no one thing that I would say would be a problem for taking it out on these adventures. Right now, we're just using it for utilitarian purposes and picking up plants for around the house and moving things around the yard and purchasing stuff at the store and hauling it in the bed and taking it on shorter adventures around Connecticut to go out and find historical sites and stuff like that. So I'll keep you updated on any future adventures that the vehicle goes on.